In the small village of Nkroful in the Gold Coast, as Ghana was then known, a boy named Kwame Nkrumah was born on September 21, 1909. His mother, a devout woman, often spoke of her hopes for him, dreaming he might rise above the simplicity of village life. But young Kwame's ambitions were even greater, dreams that began to stir as he observed the world around him, full of injustice and colonial oppression. From a young age, Kwame displayed a keen mind and an insatiable curiosity. He spent hours reading whatever he could get his hands on, devouring books that opened his mind to new ideas and perspectives. His teachers noted his intelligence and ambition, recognizing that he was no ordinary student and that his potential went far beyond the village he called home. In 1935, Nkrumah set sail for America to attend Lincoln University in Pennsylvania. There, he found himself a diverse environment that encouraged debate and intellectual growth. Kwame worked long hours at menial jobs to support himself, balancing his studies with the struggles of life in a foreign land. His time in America was transformative, exposed to ideals of freedom and social justice that deeply influenced his thinking. He attended lectures by prominent scholars and engaged with students who shared his passion for change. In America, his dream of liberating his homeland deepened, sparked by the writings of Marcus Garvey and W.E.B. Du Bois, whom he considered as guiding lights in his fight against colonialism. After graduating in 1943, Nkrumah continued his education at the University of Pennsylvania, where he studied political science and economics. He graduated with a master's degree, but his true calling was wanting to go back home. In 1947, he returned to the Gold Coast with a burning desire to liberate his people, determined to bring about a change that would reshape the fate of his nation. Upon his return, Kwame immediately joined the United Gold Coast Convention, UGCC, a political party focused on advocating for self-government. However, he quickly realized that their approach was too cautious and not in line with his urgent vision for change. Unwilling to compromise, he left the UGCC in 1949 and founded the Convention People's Party, CPP, a party dedicated to aggressively pushing for immediate self-government. Nkrumah's activism grew louder, and he organized strikes and demonstrations that captured the people's imagination. His incisive speeches and passionate calls for action resonated with Ghanaians, inspiring them to rally around the cause of independence. His determination paid off. However, it also led to his arrest by colonial authorities in 1950. But his time in jail only strengthened his support among the people. While in prison, Nkrumah became a symbol of resistance, and his name became synonymous with the struggles for freedom. The public demanded his release, and he was finally set free after a month of incarceration. On his release, he took up the leadership of the government business, and in 1957, he stood before his people to declare Ghana's independence, echoing the powerful words, "Ghana, your beloved country, is free forever."
Ghana, your beloved country, is free forever.
Nkrumah's first priority as a prime minister was to make education accessible to all Ghanaians. He believed education was the cornerstone of development and the key to empowering his people. Under his leadership, he established schools across the nation and expanded universities to provide the foundation for a self-reliant future. Among his notable achievements in education was the expansion of the University of Ghana at Legon, a landmark in higher education. He also founded the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, KNUST, which focused on science and engineering to foster technical expertise. Through these institutions, Nkrumah encouraged Ghanaians to pursue knowledge and skills, dreaming of a country where education was not a privilege but a right. In addition to education, Nkrumah set his sights on industrializing Ghana. He envisioned a nation that was self-reliant and capable of meeting its own needs, which led to his most ambitious project, the Akosombo Dam on the Volta River. This project brought electricity to homes and factories nationwide, transforming Ghana's economic landscape and significantly improving the quality of life for its citizens. The Tema Port and Industrial City emerged as trade hubs, connecting Ghana to the global markets. Nkrumah also focused on agriculture, promoting modern farming techniques and providing support to farmers to boost food production. Factories and road networks transformed Ghana into a connected and prosperous nation where goods and services flourished. He recognized that health was crucial to Ghana's success and developed modern healthcare facilities. Hospitals like Kolebu and Komfo-Anokye were expanded to meet the needs of the population, providing crucial medical services to the citizens. Clinics sprang up in rural areas, ensuring that even the remotest villages had access to health care and improving overall public health. Kwame Nkrumah's vision for Ghana was also inclusive. He championed women's rights, believing that Ghana could only progress if all of its people contributed to its future. He appointed women to leadership positions in his government, inspiring them to take on roles traditionally close to them. Through his policies, women began to rise as active partners in Ghana's development, becoming teachers, doctors, and entrepreneurs, and thus transforming the social fabric of the country. Nkrumah's aspirations extended beyond Ghana's borders, driving him to pursue a united Africa. He believed Ghana's independence would mean little if the rest of Africa remained under colonial rule. In 1963, he helped found the Organization of the African Unity, uniting African leaders in a commitment to Pan-Africanism and solidarity among nations. As a pioneer of Pan-Africanism, Nkrumah was involved in a series of international conferences and meetings where he stressed the importance of unity and collective action among African states. He worked tirelessly to foster relations with other African nations, believing that a stronger continent could stand up to imperialism and colonialism. His work elevated Ghana to a position of influence on the continent and beyond, as he emerged as a leading voice for African liberation. However, it is claimed that Nkrumah's grand vision and bold projects began to strain Ghana's economy. It is reported that while he implemented ambitious policies and infrastructure projects, the country experienced economic challenges, including inflation and a balance of payments crisis. His enemies grew, and foreign powers, including the United States and Britain, grew wary of his influence and Pan-African ideals. The tensions eventually culminated in a military coup in 1966, while Nkrumah was on a diplomatic trip to Vietnam and China. Betrayed by his own country's military, he found himself in exile, unable to return to the country he had devoted his life to liberating and building. In his final years, Nkrumah lived in Conakry, Guinea, as a guest of President Sékou Touré, where he remained under constant threat from those who wanted to see his influence diminish. His days were filled with reflection and writing, documenting his vision for Africa in books like Africa Must Unite and Conscientism. Though in exile, he never stopped dreaming of an Africa free of colonialism, and his writings inspired a generation of leaders who continued the fight. On April 27, 1972, Kwame Nkrumah passed away in Romania after a long battle with illness. His death left Ghana in mourning, and though he had spent his last years in exile, his memory loomed large over the country and the continent he loved. Since his passing, many Ghanaians have looked back at his leadership with a mixture of pride and longing, as Ghana has yet to see a leader with his vision and his commitment to a united Africa. Kwame Nkrumah's legacy remains immortal in the hearts of Ghanaians, who remember him not only as their first president, but as a symbol of courage, determination, and unwavering belief in his people. His achievements in education, industry, healthcare, and infrastructure continue to shape Ghana to this day, serving as reminders of the power of his vision. And in his memory, the dream of a united and free Africa lives on, inspired by his lifelong sacrifice and enduring spirit.